life. Although it's hard as hell, maybe dying would be worse. I love my life. Although it's hard as hell, maybe dying could be a curse. So we stay alive. That one wasn't so fast. When they go by, it's quite overwhelming, isn't it? And your whole life flashes before you. And you kind of like imagine what it would be like to what people must go through when they think about jumping in front of a train. And everybody that came into the waiting room, I just thought, are they thinking about whether they're going to commit suicide or not? It's pretty dark, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that is what I was thinking. When I was speaking to Douglas about what we wanted to do, we both agreed that we didn't want to record in a studio. What interests me with that is about capturing the energy of rooms, the history of the room, of the ghosts of the room, perhaps. And then, so he kind of said, go away and have a think about where you hear your music being listened to, where you hear your music being apparent, where you've made the music in your head, where it's happened, where the music feels like it fits. I was like, okay. Slept on it for a while, and I thought about churches, stately homes, historical buildings, different kind of situations. I just kind of had a bit of a maybe a waiting room. And I was like, yeah, and the more I thought about it, I was like, actually, it kind of fits with what my music's about. It fits with me. I've been in transition a lot. Since I released my first album, I've been in a lot of transitional periods, and I kind of searching still and kind of going from one place to another and touring, and it just feels like all of those elements fit very organically to the situation of a waiting room. So here we are at Dunoon Pier in the old waiting room, the recently renovated and lovingly restored. We've just finished day one of recording. We recorded 2 songs. And yeah, it's been a really good first day of recording, and looking forward to hearing what the outcome is like. It's always unpredictable when you're recording live. There's not much room for error, no overdubs, no safety net, so we'll have to wait and see. One of the reasons why I was really interested in using a ferry terminal waiting room was because it's kind of a familiar thing to Scottish lifestyle, which is kind of getting from place to place via ferry, and it's not really something that we have much in England. I'm quite keen to capture things that feel quite everyday for local people. I'd be really interested to try and do an airport gate in America, because that feels quite everyday to Americans, but the idea of travelling by air is still quite fascinating and kind of luxurious.
I'd really like to do a waiting room in a prison or a detention centre, or maybe
medical waiting rooms, criminal waiting rooms.
Maybe a room in the Old Bailey that.
Again, that's something that we were talking about. Is this idea that there's no class difference in these spaces, that everybody's in it together. That this kind of your neighbour can be anyone.
Yeah.
And from any walk of life, any kind of financial privilege, racial privilege, religious inclination, whatever, But I find kind of how beautiful and how much effort's gone into these rooms that are just designed just to sit and wait and think,
or not even think.
See, at the centre of it all, there has to be the album, and it has to be a good album, it has to sound good.
Yeah.
But I'm quite interested in field noise and background noise. I'm not too fussed about having, because that's the project. That's kind of what this is about. But yeah, obviously not like frequencies that distract is different. We'd recorded Guilty at Loughton Tube Station, and I think it was about 3 a.m. at that point. In the waiting room with a full drum kit, electric bass, electric guitar in a glass room. Yeah, gosh, that was quite an undertaking. The other musicians had gone home, and it was just me and Douglas, and we had a song to record called Old Coat. And we had an attempt at recording it, and it was just so late, and it was so cold and so wet that it just didn't come out. I mean, and I know it was meant to be live and raw and real with no overdubs, you know, straight takes, but it was so bad that I just, if it had gone on the album, I wouldn't have been able to listen to it. We then re-recorded it as the last song in Bristol. And actually it's ended up, it was for the best really, because it's a really great recording, and in the recording you can hear the kind of the strip lights that were in the prison cell, and they kind of buzz in the recording, and they sound like ghosts from the prisoners that have been there before. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. It's really cool. I really like that. Winter coat is on again. It reminds me of a time last year. To have been able to make something like this, yeah, I feel really proud, and that's very different to how I felt when we started. When I started, I thought that at best I'd maybe have a concept album, that the recordings, although I completely believed in Douglas and his skills, I wasn't totally convinced that we were going to be able to get clean enough recordings, and that actually the theme would be stronger and louder than the music and the recordings and my performance and delivery of the songs. And actually what we've come out with is a collection of songs that sound like an album as well as a concept. I don't think I quite believed that it would sound as musical and as beautiful as it does. Musically, it's not always folk, but I think at its heart, it's folk. And what it's trying to do is folk. What it explores as far as architecture, community, place, putting everyday songs into everyday places, I think that completely embodies what folk is to me. And often that's what's missing for me from modern folk music, is that it sounds like folk music, but it isn't folk music. A moment in time, the story of the rooms, a snapshot of a place and a time we live in, a unique record that could never be replicated because the rooms will never sound the same a second time. The sound of waiting. I want to remember that it is unique and it can never be done again or copied. That's the thing I want to remember, is that it can't ever be done again. It can never be done again, that. I couldn't do it again because it wouldn't sound the same. It did something to the music and to the spaces.
Yeah, good.
That's it, darling.
That's it, we've done it. Oh. Album number 2 in the bag. The bag. It only took us 10 years to make 2 albums.
Well, congratulations.
I've got about 1 minute of battery left. Do you want to come and tell me how you feel now you've finished it?
I feel like I'm about to have a heart attack. I feel a bit overwhelmed actually, because it's taken so long. I feel a bit like I don't know what I'm going to do with myself now. Actually, it's like, what do I do now? Where am I going now? Oh, nowhere. That's it now. But it feels really good.
What's the first thing you're going to do now?
Have a massive glass of champagne. Probably from Wetherspoons, because I don't have any money. I'm going to get Wetherspoons champagne. Have a shower, maybe. Have a shower. When you first walked through the door, a year has passed since you walked through. Practicing